Hello YouTube. So my friend just came over to my house to show me his bike, his new bike. Not exactly new, but somewhat of a legendary motorcycle, you can say, in the Indian biking segment. So here it is, the Yamaha RX100. So this is a two-stroke 100cc, and I'm pretty much sure all of you must be very familiar with this bike. At some point you must have ridden it, seen it, or at least you know the name. There are many variants of this motorcycle, and this was more of like a game changer back in the day. So let's get on it, go for a ride. I just wanted to show you guys how it is. I'm riding it after a very long time. The last time I rode one was I don't even remember. I was in 7th 10th grade probably. So no self on this, you just need to put your foot down and give it a nice kick. So this comes with a 4-speed gearbox. It's 1 down, 3 up, just as in other motorcycles, but you don't get self-start in this variant or any variant. And this bike had many variants, like you had a 135cc RX135, you had an RXG, and then there were 4-speed and 5-speed models in that. So my friend just got this bike and he got it almost restored, almost near to stock. Of course, the gearbox is not the smoothest one around here. Let's pull it. I love the sound it makes. Very funny sound, but lovely. So anyhow, this is a 100cc 2-stroke engine, and this is a 1991 model my friend has here. So this bike back in the day was what the KTM Duke 200 is today, and the KTM 390 of those days was undoubtedly, as you all might have guessed, the Yamaha RD350, which came with a 350cc twin-cylinder engine. And the bike wasn't a big hit initially because it used to consume a lot of fuel. For those days, it was a big thing. It had a 350cc engine, which is humongous for those days standards in the 80s, 90s. And it was too powerful. It had no disc brakes, nothing. So, a lot of people intended to crash because Yamaha had done quite a lot of cost cutting for manufacturing it and selling it here in India. So like the international models, we didn't get any disc brakes or anything else. So it was a very difficult to ride motorcycle. It still is, trust me. But that is also a benchmark. Like my dad used to own a Yamaha RD350, and most of my uncles, they had RDs and SDs and all those bikes. So even today, you give them an Aprilia, my dad's ridden my friend's RSV4, he's ridden my ER, any bike he rides, they still compare it to the RD350, and they still say, it's not as good as the RD350, or the RD350 is much torqueier and all that. So I haven't really ridden an RD350, but they say it's a legendary motorcycle. Same goes somewhat for the RX100, but the RX100 was relatively more nimbler. The other competitions it had was the Kawasaki KB100 and Suzuki Shogun, which is also a fast motorcycle, but the Yamaha trumped all of them and took the crown away as the most hit motorcycle back then. It was the tool to have. Like college students have KTMs today, people used to have RXs back then. And this bike is very notoriously lightweight, and with that people think it's just 100, but because it's a 2-stroke, it's explosive. You can see that. So people do quite a lot of modifications to the engine, like, there's something called porting. They change pistons, upgrade the carburetors and all that, and the power output is excellent. I remember one time when I had a CBR 250, there was this guy on an RX 135, 100, I'm not sure, with all piping and all running down. He smoked me in a drag race, like literally, he quite literally smoked me in a drag race, and I was shocked. But a few kilometers down the line, he was there with a broken engine. So people do a lot of mods to this bike, and it breaks down, and it's just everything the KTM is today. Not exactly reliable, and you never know when it breaks down, but still you can have loads of fun on it. And back in the day, this was the motorcycle it literally had no competition apart from the Suzuki Shogun, and people use this bike for all kinds of stunts now. It doesn't get any disc brakes, only drum brakes, so no stoppies, but there are people who used to do stoppies on this, I'm told. Wheelies, this bike is notoriously lightweight for wheeling, and even a pro like me can have a bad time. I recollect this time when I was in my 11th grade, and we had to take my uncle's RX100 or 135, I'm not sure. Me and my cousin brother, we had to go on it to get some groceries, and I was just a little bit curious, and I just popped the clutch on it to see how it lifts. The bike, I didn't expect it to lift so crazily, it just lifted up, and the bike went off, and we were just left standing there, like, we didn't fall, we were just standing there, both of us. We jumped off the bike, and the bike just, it went, and it crashed into a fence. So that was one experience I had, and from then onwards, I'm not really a big fan of two strokes, because the RD, the RX, the chassis and the tires and the brakes are not competent enough to handle the horsepower and the output of this motorcycle. I mean, the engine, it's crazy, gives you a crazy punch. Now this is a completely stock bike that we just restored, so we can't really pull it. But I've ridden some RXs which are in a different state of tune. Trust me, they'll scare you, they'll literally scare you. Gear ratios and all, like, comparatively, it's very rideable in traffic and all that, doesn't heat up much, just that it breaks down quite a lot often if you do extensive modding, or you don't mix oil in the petrol much. So what my friend has done is, there used to be an option back in the day. People could either opt for an oil pump, or they could directly put oil, some certain ratio of engine oil mixed with petrol into the fuel tank. So my friend just fixed up that oil pump so that he doesn't have to keep doing that at every petrol stop. So that's about it. It's one crazy motorcycle, and it's still very lightweight, and you give it a little bit of beans and it just pops up. Gears are missing a little bit, I guess. There's still some work to be done on the bike. The shocks, everything, they're very soft, like, tuned for street riding, but the engine, relatively, I can't imagine how, the kind of ego boost people must have had when they used to have this motorcycle back in that day. Let's try a little wheelie and see how it goes, like, No, I'm not trying that. Even for a pro like me, I'm still scared of this bike. It's just too lightweight, man. It's gonna throw you off. So now, also I'm told these bikes stopped production because they were not selling much, and also lots of deaths were happening. And now, as the years have progressed, the resale rate of these bikes has gone up exponentially. There was a time when you could get a good RX100 for what, 7,000, 8,000 bucks, but nowadays it goes all the way up to 40, 50. And RD, forget about it, man. It's more than a lakh, somewhere even close to 2 lakhs, and it's very difficult to find a good, properly restored stock motorcycle. So you have to be very careful about that now. Do I plan to own any of these? Sadly, no. It's too much work, too much maintenance, and not much fun, and it's really unsafe. It's iconic, but thanks. So others who, a lot of you might be owning this and something, there's something to it. It's just like an Italian car, People say Japanese are perfect, but Italians are that soul. So I can say the modern bikes, they're perfect, but these bikes, they have more of a soul, A lot of imperfections, but you can really have a good time on them. So any gear it just pulls, and the noise it makes, man, like, it's just crazy. You can hear it to believe it. You feel like you're going like 120 or 140 just because of how lightweight the motorcycle is. It's fun when you kickstart it, trust me. Let's. You pull it, you seem to have a big grin on your face, like Yamaha आज मैं नफीस का नाम मानने वाला हूँ type. So you just grinning and smiling all along the way because of the sound it makes and the way you're sitting on the bike and you're just going. It's fun, man. It's fun. Trust me, it's not funny. Yeah, it is funny, but also it is fun. And I can't imagine people who have these motorcycles now, a few years down the line, these are going to be antiques and these are going to be vintage. People won't want to sell it, and even if they sell it, the prices are going to be sky high. So let me tell you, the way R15 and KTM 200 and Pulsar 220, CBZ, all these bikes, they are bikes which brought about a change, a big change in the Indian biking community. So even this was one of them, and this was in fact one of the first bikes to be locally sold in India, which was accessible to the masses and also loads fun. See you guys, bye bye.